If you have seen the movie Jurassic Park, then you may recall this guy. This is Dennis. Dennis was the computer programmer and chief architect of all the computer systems that supported the park, where Dennis would come in and he would sit here all day, every day, in front of his computer screens, writing code, drinking highly caffeinated sodas, eating a variety of sugary snacks, of course. Now, keep in mind, this is a very typical yet horribly inaccurate depiction of someone who works in computing and works in information technology. And by the way, never mind the fact that Dennis ended up getting eaten by a dinosaur, so there is no hidden meaning at all or correlation between his fate and having a career in IT. What I want to do today is first define what it is I do, and more importantly, what it is I don't do. I'm going to share my story about how I ended up with a career in IT, detail a day in the life of what it's like working with computers. I'm also going to provide some essential skills that are needed to maintain a career in information technology. And then last but not least, provide some guidance, some tips and tricks on how you can get started. My name is McMullen. I work for United Fire Group, and United Fire Group is an insurance company headquartered in Cedar Rapids. We have approximately 1,100 employees across 9 different locations. As far west as LA, and as far east as New Jersey. I'm the team lead for IT infrastructure and DevOps, where I currently manage about 16 people. And we're going to focus, I guess, this presentation more so on infrastructure. Now, what is infrastructure? What do I mean by that? There are kind of 5 areas or silos, if you will, that make up my area of responsibility. And the first, servers and storage. Lots of servers and a lot of storage. And by that, I mean, let's say physical servers, virtual servers, SANs or storage area networks, network attached storage, disk arrays, hyper-converged infrastructure, cloud resources, all of those and their installation. That might be physically installing devices, taking them out of a box and putting them in a designated rack after being delivered to our loading dock, racks similar to this picture that you see here. We're responsible for their build, configuring them for how they will be used, adding them to a specific network, and then being able to integrate them with other systems. We're responsible for their monitoring, responding when there's a hardware failure, degraded performance, or when they're being overutilized. And finally, maintaining them. We're responsible for their warranty, applying software updates, firmware updates, and security patches. Job titles for those working with servers and storage would be, let's say, systems administrator, cloud administrator, server engineer, or storage engineer, for example. The second area, or the second silo, if you will, would be networking. And by that, I mean network switches, routers, load balancers, wireless access points, wireless controllers, and their installation, their configuration of VLANs, IP addressing, understanding network protocols, the monitoring, and maintenance using traditional copper Cat5 or Cat6 data cable or fiber cable, as you see depicted here. With approximately 8,000 devices on our network at any one moment, a medium-sized network comparatively, there's never a dull day. Job titles surrounding network and network administration may be network or LAN administrator or network engineer, for example. Third silo, audio video. When working in a virtual world with geographically dispersed employees, we rely heavily on devices like video conferencing systems, digital displays, TVs, smart boards, and their integration with services such as Microsoft or Microsoft Teams and Zoom, for example. Here too, we're responsible for their installation, maintenance, and support of all of our devices. We have approximately 125 different rooms in various different office locations. Job titles for kind of this area would be audio video specialist, AV administrator, or an IT administrator or engineer specializing in AV solutions, for example. Another silo, telephony. We're supporting approximately 1,700 devices at United Fire Group. That includes conference phones, soft phones, physical handsets, kind of depicted in the bottom right-hand corner here. And those all have to work on a phone system that must provide high-quality, clear phone calls. It must be stable, it must be resilient. Not to mention, we also administer and support hundreds and hundreds of cellular phones, iPhones, Android devices, tablet computers, and a multitude of peripherals that come with each of them. Job titles traditionally include, let's say, telecommunications specialist, telephony engineer, or voice or VoIP engineer, for example. Last but not least, kind of mixed in between those four primary areas, we're also responsible for VDI, or virtual desktop infrastructure. We do lots of application administration, let's say around Active Directory, email systems, monitoring tools, document sharing, document collaboration solutions, and many, many more. Finally, it is paramount that security awareness in everything we do in all of those various different arenas is vital. So everybody on my crew, everybody on my team has to be proficient and aware of security threats and countermeasures. Let's talk a little bit about what it is not, what we don't do on a day-to-day basis, and that would be this: eating, sleeping, writing code, and then repeating it. If you're imagining writing or developing computer code in front of a screen all day, every day, then I hope this presentation provides a different perspective to a career in information technology. While many of the members of our team are fluent in scripting, let's say, our primary job is not creating or modifying software code day in and day out. That is for application developers. A little bit about my journey. How did I end up in IT? Well, in 1995, about 1996, I graduated high school, and the internet was just in its infancy. It was some strange thing that most people were hearing about in the media. There was this thing called Windows 95. It was kind of a new buzzword, really. And there were companies like Apple, Compaq, and Gateway who were making personal computers and selling them. I was going off to college, and my dad decided, you know, it'd be a good idea to have a computer when I went so that I could do email, do research projects, type my papers, and things like that. So he said, you know what? We should probably build one. We'll build one together, and you can take it off to college, and that would be a terrific idea. Boy, was he right. So that's what we did. In about 1996-97 timeframe, we had catalogs. This is before the internet. So catalogs of computer parts and pieces. And so we picked out the hard drive, the memory, the case, the processor, the keyboard, mouse, monitor, speakers, all of it, and put it all together, kind of like Victor Frankenstein. And the minute we put it all together and we hit the power button, I instantly fell in love with computing, and never been the same day since. Now you might be thinking, oh, so you went off to college to study computers, and you would be wrong. I grew up very musically inclined. In fact, I was involved in pretty much all things music in junior high and high school, and was convinced that I was going to go off to college to become a teacher. So I did. I left high school, graduated, and enrolled at the University of Northern Iowa, and ended up about halfway through college discovering I think I want to get paid for my hobby. Take my hobby and turn it into my profession. What was going to be my profession, turned it into my hobby. So halfway through college, I decided, you know what, I'm going to finish out, graduate with my degree in education, but pursue a career in technology and working with computers. Now, on my spring breaks, my summer breaks, winter breaks, I was working for companies doing, let's say, database administration. I designed a few websites, constantly absorbed anything and everything I could about computing and networking and security. What I wasn't doing was learning how to code. It just didn't fascinate me. I just wasn't passionate about it. Ended up graduating UNI with my degree in education and got a job at this little company in Iowa City called Noel Levitz. As that company grew, I grew. So over years, I became Microsoft certified. I became a Microsoft certified trainer and eventually a certified ethical hacker. Pretty much trained to be a bad guy, even though I'm a good guy. I continued growing, decided I wanted to kind of share my passion for technology through leadership with those around me. I enrolled at St. Ambrose University and got my master's in IT management. Today, I work at United Fire Group Insurance in Cedar Rapids, and I've been there for a little over 2 years now. So a day in the life. What's it like working in IT, day in and day out? Well, for me, I wear lots of different hats, from project management to team management, certainly time management. I constantly have to learn, always learn every single day. I have to solve problems by being creative, and certainly I have to be pretty good at organization as well. Let's take a closer look at some of those, and maybe I can pass on a little advice at the same time. Maybe the most important skill when working in IT is the ability to collaborate and work with other people. And it's imperative that I have to work with others. And this is probably where I think I would stress where I need to utilize a handful of critical skills. One, I need to be able to communicate effectively and be honest, be timely, concise, yet clear with everybody I'm talking to. I have to be able to listen to understand instead of just waiting for my turn to talk. I have to pay attention to what is being said when I talk to other people and when I collaborate without being distracted by what's on my computer or what's happening on my phone. Three, I have to respect other opinions, keeping an open mind. I am never the smartest person in the room, never. When necessary to know how to handle conflict, I have to be able to negotiate, listen to other people, but then showing patience with others too. Last but not least, my favorite, I have to and constantly use a sense of humor. I always thought a sense of humor is a good test of your relationship with those who are around you. It connects you with people. And if you can laugh out loud together with somebody, then that relationship is probably pretty strong. Another skill I have to use every day, all day, is certainly time management. We all have the same 24 hours in each day and 7 days a week. It isn't about just putting in hours, but what you are doing with those hours you are putting in. Therefore, managing your time between school, work, family, yourself, and then some is really important. This is a real picture of my calendar of this month. So I am in lots of different meetings. Hence, back to my previous slide, I collaborate and communicate with lots of people all the time. Those meetings might be business meetings. I need to be able to manage personal appointments, family reminders and events. Certainly there's some travel in my calendar here. What are those reservations? I need to be able to have the ability to prioritize so that I can then plan not only my day, but then my week and then my month accordingly. Project management, another hat I wear. Essentially, it's good to be busy. Don't get me wrong. It's really good to be busy versus just sitting around and doing nothing all day or just twiddling your thumbs. And with many projects and initiatives, it's important that I keep my finger on the pulse of what is happening across our team. Certainly in this picture here, I'm collaborating with lots of different people. I'm trying to figure out who is doing what, when are they doing it, how long will it take, how much will it cost, and then maintain that same kind of mindset, if you will, across dozens of projects and tasks or requests all going on simultaneously. It's a tedious job. Another one, problem solving. I need to be able to identify a problem, diagnose it, generate multiple ideas probably for resolving that problem, sometimes creatively and certainly thinking outside of the box, and select a solution, try it out, and see if it worked. Many times that process needs to be done in mere minutes, depending on the situation and severity. Case in point, here's a good example. Came into my home office, plugged in my laptop, hit the power button, and got this. Fan malfunction. I need to be able to know, okay, what should I try next? Do I go ahead and hit F1, F2, F5, unplug, reboot, whatever that may be? In this case, I was in a pinch. I was in a hurry. And I had to actually use another computer for a meeting that I had to get to. I had to take apart my computer piece by piece, put in a new fan that I had ordered, put it all back together again, hit the power button, powered right up. Here's another example. Although a little difficult to see in this picture, you'll see stacks of switches. Now there's this top stack of switches on the very top, and then there's two more switches just below them. If you look towards the right-hand side of those two switches at the bottom, you notice there's red lights on them. So I have to be able to look at these switches and say, clearly I'm getting an error on them. What could be the problem? What should I try? Do they need to be replaced? How am I going to, I guess, reconnect all of the computers and devices that are connected to these switches? Who can I call for help? And again, many times it's under, I'm not going to say great stress, but there is, certainly you want to be able to resolve these types of issues quickly. Woohoo! It's Friday. Oh wait, I work 7 days a week. So true. When working in technology, and certainly when you are working within infrastructure, you may get a call in the middle of the night. There's an outage. Something broke. A system is down, and you may be required to get up, plug in your laptop, go into the office, something like that, and start troubleshooting the problem so that you can get whatever system, whatever server, whatever application back up and running as quickly as possible. Here's the problem with technology. And let this sink in for a second. More than a third of what you know at the start of the year will be outdated by the end of the year. I'll say that again. More a third of what you know at the start of the year will be outdated by the end of the year. That will then repeat next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. Therefore, I have to be proficient at learning. When working on IT, you must be willing to constantly learn new things and be kind of a student of the game, if you will. Those that can learn how to learn are going to be very impactful in the future. Some things I'm learning about today include virtual reality, is kind of depicted here, even hologram technologies. Certainly there's evolving technologies surrounding smart devices and AI, just to name a few. Learning is paramount, so much so that the nice thing about it, it may involve some travel. So I'm a serious conference goer. It's where I do some of my best critical and strategic thinking. So depicted here, I was in a conference in Chicago. I had a conference in Austin, Texas, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, and Las Vegas, actually multiple times just within the past 2 years or so. So I'm constantly learning all day, every day, just being a student of the game. So if you're interested, how do you get started? Where do you go from here? What's your next step? Got a couple ideas. There kind of two different tracks, if you will. For hardware, if you're interested in getting your hands on something physical, look into Circuit Playground, Raspberry Pis. Certainly, you can start doing Google searches for do-it-yourself computer kits, for example. I started, and I found it pretty advantageous. I would ask my mom or my dad to talk to their IT departments where they work to see if they had computer parts or spare computers that I could work with. So I encourage you, ask your mom, your dad, sister, brother, whoever, aunt, uncle, and see if they would ask their IT department. I'd be willing to bet you they've got computer parts laying around and would be happy to actually get rid of them or donate and help you out. Certainly, if you know someone, a friend or family member who works in IT, follow them. Use them as a mentor to ask questions, gain insight, and teach you. The second area is more for software coding, and I guess resources that you can check out would include Khan Academy, Hour of Code from code.com. Both of these resources, including scratch.mit.edu, allow you to, let's say, code and create games. Depicted here, Depth Charge was a game posted online where the aim here is to destroy submarines. Or another one, the picture in the bottom right-hand corner there, creating music, having like a My Music player, and the aim here was to create new remixes of songs based off of existing ones. Super creative and a lot of fun. Each of these kind of avenues, I think, are a terrific way in allowing you to be creative, but also in your own way too, while it's still getting you exposed to technology. Looking ahead, your journey. Handful of things I recommend. Certainly, if you have computer science classes available at your school, check them out. Ask your guidance counselor or career counselor about job shadowing opportunities. Boy, if I had the ability to do some job shadowing when I was in high school, that would have been very, very insightful, honestly. It may teach you not only what you want to do, but also confirm what you don't want to do, which can also be just as powerful. Depending on where you are in your schooling, keep an eye open for internships or apprenticeships. Certainly as you grow, technical certifications, look at online learning. Of course, there's a multitude of various different options to learn things online. Those can then perpetuate into 2-year schooling or even a 4-year schooling, depending on which avenue you want to take. Knowing all of that, is a career in IT for you? If so, your future looks pretty bright. Today, we are experiencing a shortage of skilled workers across every region of our state in all types of industries. But it's interesting that the top 2 most in-demand jobs year after year are usually in healthcare and information technology. I just went out to Iowa Works right here and did a search, for example, on the word computer, and it produced hundreds of available jobs right now. And those not working, directly in IT still do require some sort of computer experience. I'll say this. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. In closing, let me just say this. Follow what you are most passionate about. It's so cliche, but it's true. If you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. The world in which we live equally distributes talent. You can go anywhere and find really talented people in their area of expertise, but it doesn't equally distribute opportunity, though. So pursuing any career can be difficult, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means you have to work hard. I want to thank you again for your time and listening today and attention. Again, if you see me out and about, don't hesitate or don't be shy and don't hesitate to come up and say hello. I love talking tech. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon.